the conflict in Ukraine has geo-economic and geo-security implications for us that we should not ignore. Why do I say that? Because geo-economically, if we assume that one of China's principal objectives coming out of this conflict is to harden its economy from subsequent Western financial and economic assault, then one must presume that there will be a greater and not lesser decoupling in the economic and commercial fields. And decoupling per se for us is not a good development because it limits choices. It then becomes a binary choice where if we access one set of technologies or financial instruments or equipment, we are immediately closed out of the other set. So this has an implication for us which we need to be aware of. The second, of course, is the geostrategic or geosecurity implication. China is going to ask Russia to support its vision of the Indo-Pacific if it supports Russia's vision of what NATO is doing in Eastern Europe. In other words, China backs Russia against NATO in Eastern Europe, and Russia in turn backs China against what it calls the American version of the Eastern NATO or the Indo-Pacific NATO. Now, this of course means a greater Sino-Russian combine against the idea of the Indo-Pacific. So whereas previously both Russia and China have spoken against the idea, the Russians have never dovetailed this with the Chinese idea. We can now expect that dovetailing and pushback to be coordinated, for them to work together on this. But I would go even further. I would say that we should therefore not only expect a full throttle pushback on the idea of the Indo-Pacific itself, but we should also expect a full throttle pushback on the idea of Quad. And what is noticeable, Nitin, is that the Chinese foreign minister has equated Quad with AUKUS and the Five Eyes. Completely unmindful of the fact that the Five Eyes and AUKUS are out and out military alliances or security alliances.
And Anglo-Saxon alliances.
Yes. Whereas Quad by no stretch of imagination is that. But this conflation of Quad with AUKUS, for instance, is a disturbing development we need to take note of because it complicates the geostrategic situation in our own region.